Hi, I'm Bob. I'm gonna call. Show of hands. Don't raise your hand. How many here, this is your first business that you're starting? Okay. How many here already have a business and you're just trying to grow it? Okay. How many here, show of hands, how many here don't want to raise your hand? There's always one. But you actually raise your hand. Amen. So what we're going to do, real quick background on me. Straight out of high school, I went in the military. And I loved it. That's all I ever wanted to do. And I excelled in what I was doing. Became a drill instructor for 3 years, which was probably the best 3 years of my military career, because I was taking civilian boys and girls and turning them into men and women who were serving the military. Okay? They had to learn everything, and that was our job, was to teach them. And during those 3 years, I had over 2,000 hours of platform time where I was actually instructing. After that, I was selected to go to Officer Candidate School. I became a commissioned officer in the cavalry. And in a cav, I took what I had learned in team building and applied it to my platoon, and we excelled there as well. And I said, all I want to do is the military, and I had it timed out where I could receive my commission 10 days before I would no longer be eligible to receive a commission, because I'd be too old. So, and the timing on it, the way the promotion structure works in the military is you get promoted to lieutenant, first lieutenant, or second lieutenant after 18 months, and then at the 3-year point, you get selected for captain. There's 2 passovers. So if you don't make the first list, you have to make the second, or you're out. And the first list, I'm competing against military academy graduates, ROTC graduates. So I knew I wasn't going to make that list, and sure enough, I didn't. But what happened was they figured they had too many officers in the military. So I came into work, went to a big meeting, came back at lunch, just pick up some files from the office before I went back to the meeting, and the major said, you need to go in and see the colonel. Oh, okay, I didn't make the list. Walk in, he said, Bob, you didn't make the list. No problem, catch it on the next round. There isn't gonna be another round. Kind of like your phone call, that's mine, just face to face though. He said, they said, you gotta get out. Go to S1, pick up your clearance papers. You got 2 weeks. And you know, that after almost 13 years, and that was my dream job. Just had, you know, so I could relate 100% with what she was talking about. Just out of nowhere.
Out of
If
nowhere.
it's too warm, I can open the door and let some air in.
What happened was, I took my family to Disney World, of course. But I figured, you know, I just need some time away from everything. So we went and had fun for a week, and on the drive home, everybody was sleeping, and that's where I broke down and cried. Because I had nothing. I had no idea what to do. Luckily, about 6 months prior to that, I started insurance training. And I got my license. I just sell like one policy a month. It was just, you know, like spending money, right? So I said, well, maybe I can do this full time until I get a quote regular job. And I went to see my supervisor and I said, I want to go full time. What do I got to do? Easy, see more people. And that was his instructions. And that's what I did. And within 2 years, I had my own agency. Once I had my own agency, within 2 years of that, I was the #2 producing agency in the country for our insurance company. I had 9 agents out in the field. I had 1 full-time staff person, 2 part-time staff people, and all the expenses go to the office. And then something come along called the first Gulf War, right? Desert Shield. My market was the military market. They all packed up and shipped 9,000 miles away. I couldn't sell insurance anymore. So they closed the doors, and we came to Maryland, and I got my second dream job, which was to be a police officer, and with the Maryland Transportation Authority Police. And I loved it. I loved what I was doing. I loved the people. I loved the brotherhood, you know, what we were doing, and leading the mission. And then one night, May 12, 2007, there was an accident scene out on the highway, and I was out working the accident scene, and I ended up getting injured. And I fought, you know, after 3 surgeries and a lot of rehab and all that, they said, you're not gonna be able to stay as a police officer. You have to retire. Oh, retire? Yeah, okay, how much is that? And, but that allowed me to have that vision, right, to go on. And then, okay, Lord, what else do you want me to do? And I'm sitting there rehabbing from a knee surgery, I couldn't walk around. And he said, I want you to begin your own online radio station, Christian radio station. So that's where what eventually is now Evangelism Radio started from. Sitting there in the computer because I couldn't walk around and just obeying the Lord, right? And within 3 years, we were rated the #1 online Christian radio station in the world. And we just started growing, right? We started with one broadcaster, which was me, right? So how many of you are solopreneurs? It's just you and your business, right? That's me. And now we have 54, including Ann, right? 54 broadcasters that I service each and every week by supporting them, doing the editing and all the stuff that has to happen to go on the radio. And we have listeners in 167 different countries, all around the world. So I said all that to show you that you can bounce back from adversity. Okay? I had to start over 3 different times, starting at 0, and build it back up. And unexpected things happen, so you have to prepare for those. Okay? She started. You were taking all my thunder. but or what you think you're called to do, because what you think you're called to do may be different where you're going to end up. Okay? But you have to be open to understand that when opportunities come, you have to evaluate. And the evaluation comes because of your why. Right? You may want to open the group home. Okay? And I'm sorry, yours was the camp. Yours was the group home. Okay, you might want to open the camp for 5 to 12-year-olds. Then an opportunity will come to have a teenage camp. Will that answer your why? If you want to focus on that age group, you'll turn it away because it doesn't match up with what you say your why is. Okay? Because the devil will try to slip some things in there to divert you off of your purpose. So you are the only one who can answer the question, why? Why am I doing this? Is it for the income? Is it for because I have children at home, I want to stay at home mom? Is it for I want to help disadvantaged youth? Is it because I want to be on stage? Or whatever the case may be, you, as she was saying, you have to relate it to why, and it can't be focused on you. It has to be focused on somebody else, because otherwise it's just you. It's all about you. It's all about what you are, what you get out of it. And when your customers sense that it's all about you, you're going to lose your customers. Okay? So answer that question, why. Next, ask questions all the time. If somebody tells you, we can't do this, but we can do this, ask them, why? Right? Why can't we do it this way? When we started our radio station, when we changed platforms, put it like that, after, like I said, a couple of years in, it wasn't really doing the way I thought we should do it. And I prayed about it, and the Lord gave me 10 things. Find a different platform with these 10 things, kind of like the 10 Commandments, right? And they stuck on that number 10. But, and then we couldn't find, I did the research for almost 2 weeks. Every time I had a chance, I was researching other online radio stations. We're doing it the way that I was thinking about doing it. Nobody was doing it that way. Nobody, not one. And then it dawned on me, we're supposed to be the first ones. It's ours. It's our vision. So I got with my IT guy, and we're going to talk about your partners, your team members. And I said, this is what I want to do. And he started researching how to put it all together. And we also sat down, we added 4 more things that would be nice to have. So we had 10 must have these things. Those 4 more nice to haves. And after about 5 months of testing all these different platforms, we finally clicked. We got all 14 things that we had listed. And we've been with them now for 5 years, and we have not had one hiccup I said, all of a sudden the radio station started just growing massively. And I asked the Lord one day, I said, why me? The why question. Why did you pick me to do this? And if you want to be brutally honest and actually listen about why am I doing this? The Lord kept me real humble. He said, you're not the first one I told to do it. You're just the first one to obey. And that's why we got to grow. Now there's 8 or 9 copying us. And what they say, imitation is the best type of flattery. Whatever,
Yes.
right? There's 8 or 9 doing it the way we're doing it, but we're still number 1. Praise the Lord. So, but when you're building your team and they're telling you that we can't do it that way, why? Well, nobody else is doing it that way. That's your clue. This is for you. That's your vision.
Yes.
This is for you.
Yeah.
You're the one who's supposed to do it. Now you got to figure out how to do it. And that comes into the team, because if you don't know how to build every aspect of it, now you have to do, as we're talking outsourcing, you need to hire people, whatever it is. If you're only focused on you, you'll be a solopreneur your whole life, which means you can't grow above a certain stage. Because I can testify, it gets consuming, all right? We are at the point now where I'm hiring virtual assistants. That's our next step, because loading files, stuff like that, I can teach somebody else how to do, and we're gonna go through that. But when you finally start thinking about, do I need to hire help? The answer is, you already passed that point. Because when it has now become forefront in your thought processes, it happened a long time ago. All right? So, ask questions all the time. If you're trying to build something and you say, who can do this? I did it today. I was having some issues on my podcast, on my support for the podcast. And they said, well, we sent it to tech. Okay, tell me who in tech I can call to get it fixed. Well, we can't do that. Why? Why can't you do that? You just said you sent a tech. I want to talk to tech. And I learned that from my commander in the military, right? And we thought he was, I can't even use the word, but he was training us to ask questions, right? And someone would tell him, and I'll never forget, we were on an exercise, and one of the tanks had broken down. And at the time I was working in the S3 shop, so we were in the tactical tent, and he called up on the radio, and we got a board with equipment that's broken down and when it's supposed to come up. And he said, what's the status on such and such tank? I said, well, it says that it's supposed to be up at 4 o'clock. This was 10 after 4. Right? He goes, it's 10 after 4. What's the status on the tank? I don't know. Let me check with maintenance. Call maintenance. It'll be up shortly. It'll be up shortly. What's shortly? Tell me what shortly means. He was that specific. He wanted to know what. And then when I found, well, it said within the hour. I said, okay, who did you talk to? Because I said, well, they said. Who's they? Right? Who did you talk to? You have to get that specific. And he in Vietnam, he had a translator who was named They. He was in Thailand, and his name was They. He had him as his personal assistant everywhere he went, because it was a translator. And when someone said, well, they said I can't do that, I said, they? Did you say that? So, but that's the type of attitude you have to have, because this is your business.
Right.
It's your business, not their business. They can care less, right? When I was talking to the guy this morning, well, I sent it to tech. Okay, great. Connect me to tech. Well, we can't do that. Why? That little question, why? He said, well, we're just not allowed. Okay, let me talk to your supervisor then. Somebody has the authority to connect me to who I need to talk to. And that's the type of attitude you have to have. Don't tell me no. If you tell me no, I'll take my business over here. Right? And then they, oh, well, just a second. And then all of a sudden, hey, I'm talking to tech. I mean, you have to be that way because you're the business owner. Okay? And that takes us on down. You're the visionary, the coordinator, and the problem solver of your business. So when you are supervising a team, and it could be a full-time employee, a part-time employee, volunteers. Okay? For our radio station, I got 2 volunteers right now, and the virtual assistant, right? And I have have to make sure they understand what my vision is for them. You have to tell them, this is your responsibility, and I'm holding you responsible. I'll give you whatever you need. You tell me what you need, and I'll make it happen. So when you have your update meeting, say, I try and do it every week, and say, okay, how's this going? Oh, so-and-so said that we can't do it this way right now, that we, what? You accepted that? I mean, that's your job, is to make them do their job. Do not do their job for them. Okay? If you have to step in, you don't need them anymore. Right? And you need to make that very clear. Okay? When you're building a team, you are there to run the organization. You are there to go out and make contacts in the community. You are there to expand the business by networking and different things like that. They're the ones that are supposed to run the sit down at the desk 8 hours a day, uploading things and stuff like that. That's why you are paying them. Not to sit there and play video games and all this other stuff, right? And that goes into, you are not the boss. The boss is an egomaniac. This is my company, and I'll run it the way I see fit. No, it's not about you. Remember, it's not about you. It's about your customers. Who are you servicing? Okay? It's not about you. And when you start running the organization like, this is mine, your team members, those who you hire, okay, you know, I don't have any ownership in it, so whatever. That's where the team building concept comes in. With the military, and then in my insurance agency, and then as a police officer, and because I ended up as a sergeant, as a supervisor, throughout all that time, I would build, and from age 18 until today, I have been building teams or been part of a team, okay, the whole time. And that's how that's the expertise I bring to the table, is teaching you how to build teams. And the best way of doing it is to get them to buy ownership into it, okay? If you know the problem, I'll just go like this. Let's say you have set up I'll use the radio station, uploading the files in this order in order to do all the playlists and all this. And you know how to do it, you've taught them how to do it. And you know that if there's a problem, you go over here and you reset this and you break it, and you know the steps to that, you've taught them how to do that. And then they come up and say, I'm having a hard time with this. Don't tell them, okay, go over here, remember, reset this, do that. Or don't go over here, okay, there you go, and walk away. Don't do that. Walk them through the process. Let them think that they came up with it on their own. Say, well, is there a way of checking whether or not this connection? Well, yeah, I could check that. Okay, but check that and see what happens. And maybe that spurs their memory, and then they go, we got it fixed, boss. Right? And, I mean, they think they fixed it, which they did, okay? But they think they're the ones who came up with the cure. Right? That's what you need to do to get them to buy into ownership. You have to train them what to do, and then if they come to you, just help them remember what to do. All right. So let's talk about training your team. I've broken it down into TEAM, and the first one is train. Go figure. All right. You have to train them on what you want them to do. Now, if you hire, and this is a very generalized scenario, you hire a receptionist to greet people as they come in and out. Let's say you have this big office. Let's say something like this. And let's say Ann's running it, and she's got a receptionist up front.
I wish this was my office.
Y'all gonna make this my space.
But you have a receptionist up front, and you hire her to greet people and let people, let the person they're here to see know they're here, answer the phone, right, and route the calls. And most of the day, you see her on the phone playing games because nothing's happening. Why can't she file for you? And so you don't have to do it, or you don't have to hire somebody else to do it. So while she has this free time, she'd be filing stuff. So now you have to train her how to do that. And what you're telling her is not, I want you to do this, this, and this, because no, get them to buy into the ownership of the organization at their level. What you're trying to tell them to do is, look, we're so busy around here, we don't have time to answer your phones. You have to route the calls for us. That's gonna save us so much time, so we can go ahead and do better things, and you can get pay raises and all this other stuff, but we'll make more money. And the filing, if you can do this in your spare time, then we don't have to hire somebody else to do it, because that'll allow us to pay you more, right? So get them to buy into it, right? And in the process, let's say you have 3 different departments. We'll say marketing, customer service, and shipping. We'll just use those as examples. Well, you're getting her, if you have a marketing department, you gotta have, an administrative department that pays the bills, pays the paychecks, and all that. You're helping her to work with the administrative department, because the invoices will come in, and the POs will come in, and she has to file them appropriately so that we can pay people, so they can help us build the business, and then everybody prospers, right? So you're getting them training for the next level. By training down here, helping out the associate that she's assigned to, put it like that, okay? So if Jenna is in charge of, all the financial stuff going on, she's working with Jenna. Jenna's, okay, I need these POs in this order, so that we can pay them and all. And she's learning as she goes, right? Now, Ann says, I need somebody to do outside work, and promotes Jenna. Now, we have to either hire someone or promote someone to take her place. Who's already trained? Boom. She moves into the spot, we just hire another receptionist, and the whole thing starts all over again, right? See how that works? But if she just stayed there on the phone, playing games, and hello, answering the phone, she's needed out in the field.
She's pretty much.
We have to hire somebody else who knows what to do, right? So that's the importance of training your team. E is empower. Empower your team. Give them projects and hold them responsible for it, okay? So, this receptionist, you are in charge of making sure all the POs are in the proper order, and that they're all there, and that all the information is on there that needs to be, if not, call the company and get all this stuff, so that Jenna can make sure they get paid. And if they get paid, then we can have money to go and expand the business and help our customers elsewhere, right? So make sure all that stuff gets done. You have to train them to do it, and then hold her responsible for it. If Jenna every Monday morning is gonna do the POs, then that means she has to have them done by Friday when she goes home, so they're on Jenna's desk when she comes in in the morning. And that's where you're empowering her to do it. If it's not there, hey, what happened? And, I was having a hard time getting this one. Well, that's where instead of fixing the problem, you gotta have them go back and do it, right? And that's part of the training process. Accountability, A. I just wanted to hold them accountable. Right? Have meetings with your team. I've got a virtual assistant and 2 volunteers. And we have meetings, I won't say every week, but for sure every 2 weeks we have meetings. And it's on Skype and stuff like that. My volunteers, I talk to them in the office. But you have to have the accountability meetings. What's the status of this project? What's the status of that project? Where do we stand on this? That's your job as the coordinator, the overseer. Do not go down into the trenches, right? I'll give you a cavalry analogy. When the trap comes off the tank, usually it's because it's deep, deep mud, this deep. And since the tank can't move, where do they have to replace the track at? Down in the mud, right? Now, the colonel is not going to walk down in the mud and show them how to fix a track, right? That's what the soldiers are for, right? And they're the ones that get all dirty and all muddy and all that, and they finally get everything rolling back out, and then the colonel gets back in his Jeep and off he goes, but he's overseeing it, he's not going to fix it. That's what their job is. That's the same thing. Okay? When you're holding somebody accountable for what you have hired them to do, make sure they do it. Don't do it for them. And you see that so often. But having a hard time with it. We're good. Any more questions?
No.
And she had no idea what you just did. She had no idea what you just did.
I have no idea. I just know he took the button. I'm a part, that's what happened.
When we first started the radio station, I mean, this was, and to tell you the truth, this was a step of faith for God. Because I had to have help checking email. Right? My tech skills were almost non-existent. And I'm not exaggerating. They had to help me. How do I check email again at work? You know? That was not me. All right. And when God said I want to start your own online radio station, I'm like, yeah. Is that really you? But you know, and now when we started, Chris, my IT guy, I called him probably 5 times a day, and then they got 5 times a week, and then they got once a week, and then once a month. Now. You know, he'll come over to the house and say, hey, how's it going? All right, the computer's running a little bit slow. Okay, you're done. Yeah. But, I mean, if I run into a huge problem, I call him up on the phone, and most of the time, he'll walk me through it. Right? And sometimes it's so, I have messed it up so bad. It's like, hold up. And give me the login so he can jump in remotely from wherever he's at. And I see the little button going around. Okay, it should have run fine now. What'd I do? I ain't got time to go into it. But that's holding people accountable. And M is my favorite. Monitor, not micromanage. Alright?
Let's write that one there.
Yeah. Monitor. Observe. Let's say you have 3 departments, as we were talking about, you know, the marketing, the administrative, and the shipping, right? You got somebody in charge of each one of those departments. Hold them accountable, and sit back and just watch what happens. You know, watch them as you're holding them accountable. Okay, I need this shipment, this order just came in, and we need, you know, this priority shipment, so we need to get packed up, all hands on deck, get this thing out today. Right? And when that happens, you aren't supposed to be the one down there packing stuff up. You need to be monitoring what's going on. If you see people lollygagging around and doing nothing, right? That's where you step in and fix the situation. Hey, get over here and get over here working, helping them. You know? And by doing that, you're not down in the trenches. Because if you're in the trenches trying to fix the track, you're not up here running the battle, right? That's why the colonel observes everything. That's why he wants the information. Information is key. If you're the leader, you're the one who needs the information. Okay? If they're keeping it from you, they're not really doing it on purpose, but they're not sharing it. You're the one who needs it. Like he was calling, tell me the status on the tank, because he's preparing for a battle. He needs to know what's going on. Prepare. Tell me what the status on that. I need to know when I can have it. And not this, well, in an hour or so. No, that's not. I was in one meeting. We had ground cab and air cab. And the S2, the security guy, he was giving the briefing. And he said, well, the weather today is going to be a low ceiling. Blah, blah. He said, wait a minute. What's low ceiling? Well, cloud 800 feet. Okay, say 800-foot ceiling, because for the tanker, a low ceiling means, it's not foggy, right? A helicopter pilot can't fly with 800-foot ceilings, right? So he said, we had both, so be specific. And you need to do that when you got your meetings. We said, well, we can go ahead and hook this up and run it like this, and it'll go like, and it'll do what we do. Okay, why? There's that word again, why? That's your job, is to ask those questions, all right? So you have train, empower, hold them accountable, and monitor, but do not micromanage. The micromanagers are the ones who, okay, did you file that yet?
No.
Hurry up. Because, we're running out of time.
Don't talk to him, I might leave his job. That's how we really think it, right? Y'all don't be rushing me, I'm trying to move that.
You were hired from a newspaper ad. I can run an ad again. See, that's being what? The boss.
Yeah.
Do not be the boss. Do not be the boss. Because what did I just do to her? I just devalued her.
Right.
Is she a member of my team now? She's already like, I will find, he's gonna try to replace me. So that's what I, don't be the boss. But if she's having a problem, look, if you're having a problem, I have somebody else come over here and help you. You know, is there an issue? Just monitor, don't get out of here, let me do it. Don't do that. Help, right? So those are the three things. Now,
They've got a few minutes left.
okay,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go over one more item, and you can fix everything in your business, you can fix everything in your personal life over one cup of coffee. One cup of coffee is all it takes. And what that means, everybody look at one cup of coffee. One cup of coffee, this was given to me by a general. I just seen this major fiasco going on. And I was part of it, I was in the cab, we worked directly for the general, so I was part of the briefing team. And when he got done, the general came and said, well, today we made coffee. And everybody's looking at him just like you were looking at me, right? What is he talking about? The coffee has how many major elements? 4. Break down your tasks into the major elements. Mainly, usually be with 4 or 5, but with coffee, it's 4. You need coffee, obviously, water, a container to hold the water in, and a heat source to heat it up. If you remove one of those elements, you do not have coffee. Okay? Now you can have too much water and not enough coffee. So you got weak coffee, right? People just pour it out on the ground. Or you have too much coffee and not enough water, in which case it's bitter coffee. Right? It's still coffee, but it's bitter coffee. Or you can have not enough heat, so it's lukewarm, nasty coffee. Right? I don't know if it's nasty. But you still have coffee. It's still considered coffee. You remove one of those elements, you don't have coffee. So in your business, in your business plans, in your planning that you're going to do on a day-to-day basis, break down. These are the key areas I have to have every time.
We're gonna do that on the vision sheet
There you go.
tonight, okay.
So when you do that, you know you have coffee. So if you run into a problem, break down what's missing here. What am I doing? Because then if you break up, this was missing. Now it's back in the system.
All right, thank you, Bob.